Welcome back. We are on part number 4 of the Pathways Working Sessions. I'm your host, Sean Forrester, the Chief Educational Ambassador for District 48. And in this last section, we were dealing with the mentoring program, and I had just walked through the My Account, where you can record your roles when you perform your roles at a club meeting. You don't have to use this tool, but you certainly can, and it's a great way of keeping track of your own personal journey and which roles you played. I'm going to click on the home button here to take us back to the main page. And this time, I'm going to go back into the transcript, and we're going to take a look at something for record keeping. So I talked a little bit about the curriculum being below. There's a little menu here at the very top, and one of the items here is the e-portfolio. So if I click on e-portfolio, I go to a second page, and here I'm going to divert a little bit. Remember at the very beginning, I said that there was a blue button called My Badges. Well, here's another way to get to My Badges. So if I click on Badges, let's talk a little bit about badges. So I have a total of 19 so far, and I'm scrolling down to the very bottom. When I first activated 2 paths, I got a little icon shadowed just saying that I'm now working on these particular paths. So my effective coaching path and my visionary communication path came with a badge. As well, each level has a badge, so you can see I've completed 2 level 1s, 2 level 2s, 2 level 3s, 2 level 4s, and 2 level 5s. I also activated the mentor program, the little mini path called the Pathways Mentoring Program. And I subsequently completed it. So you can see that one was darkened, and this is the full color. As well, I finished the 5 levels of the effective coaching. So I've now called Effective Coaching Proficient. And I finished the visionary communication. So there's the symbols for the 2 paths that I have completed. And I've activated a 3rd path, the presentation mastery path. Now there are 2 other badges that I haven't talked about. One is collaborative and exceptional. These badges are actually granted by other fellow Toastmasters. So these are user-driven badges. Sometimes if you do something good in a meeting, one of your fellow Toastmasters might think it was good enough to have earned a badge. And so in that case, they would go into My Feedback, and they would look me up, and they would attach a badge to their comment and say, thought you did a great job with the open house, or you were a great contest master, or whatever it might be. I'm giving you the exceptional badge, or I'm giving you the collaborative badge. So there are 5 or 6, I think, user-driven badges that can be awarded by your fellow Toastmasters. There's not much that gets used by these badges in the system, but it's kind of an interesting thing to be aware of. So I just bring that to your attention. I'm going to go back to the breadcrumb here where it says e-portfolio, and that will take me back 1 level to where the badges were, and now to documents. So I'm going to click on that documents. We each have this rudimentary filing system. There are 5 folders, 1 for each level in Pathways, as well as a 6th generic one called My Documents. You don't have to do this, just like logging your roles. You could just as easily keep all of your paperwork in a file folder and then just present that to your Basecamp manager when you finish a level. But if you'd like, you can use the system to store electronically your paperwork. One of the things that I do is when somebody writes an evaluation for one of my speeches at my clubs, I come home and put it on the table and take a picture of page 1 and page 2 of the evaluation. I don't bother with page 3 since there's no writing on it. So I take a picture of each of those with my phone, and then I change the name of the file to reflect the details of that speech before I upload it. You can't change the name once it's been uploaded into the system, so you have to do that on your local computer or phone. So I'm going to click into level 1. And I'm going to show you that in this, you can store a number of different file types. It will handle Word documents. It will handle Excel documents. It'll handle pictures like JPEGs or movies. It will handle PDFs. And I think that's about it. The biggest restriction is that each file can not be any more than 20 megabytes. So that makes a movie a little difficult depending on how big your speech was, how long your speech was. What I choose to do is I put the date that I delivered the speech and then which of the paths I'm working on. So in this case, it's presentation mastery, level 1, project 1, which was the icebreaker, and then PG1 for page 1. And you can see it's a JPEG, it's a picture because I took it off my phone. And here's page 2 from that same speech. So this is how I document my evaluation, so that when I sit down with my Basecamp manager, they can look through all these files and see how I did each project and be able to approve me for completion of my level. I also put things like my certificate when I finish the certificate, just to keep that information. Now, if I go back again one level and I look in my documents, what I have chosen to do for this is I store miscellaneous files that are required for projects to get my DTM. You can see this project that I've been working on for the Pathways working sessions. I had a flyer produced for each one of the divisions, and so I stored that information in case that comes up in discussion. Likewise, if I scroll down a little bit, actually I'll go to page 2 here. You can see my club coach certificate. So if I open that up, you can see this was the certificate that was sent to me from Toastmasters International. When I completed my club coach function, I was the club coach for Cigar City Toastmasters for a period last year and helped them to get their Distinguished Toastmaster Award for the club. And so this is my record of finishing the club coach function, which is one of the activities that you'll see in the Pathways Distinguished Toastmaster Award. So again, this is just a way of being able to use the system to store your information so that you don't have to, oops, I just closed Toastmaster. Excuse me. Go back into Pathways. It's pretty easy to do. And go back into Basecamp. So back here, again, I go to transcript and I go back to ePortfolio and then documents. And again, as I said, if you choose to just keep all your paperwork in a file folder, that's perfectly fine. It is not required that you do this, but this is a nice convenient way of storing all your records so that it's all there and you can just log in and sit down with your Basecamp manager and go through the documentation so that you can get credit for your levels as you complete them. So that's record keeping inside of Basecamp. I've gone through all that. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to go back to the District 48 website. And what I've got here is under Pathways, I've gone to Paths and Projects, opened up this window. And I'd just like to show you two other resources that are available that the district has put up there that are very handy. This Pathways, Path and Core Competencies, and this Pathways, Paths and Project Catalog. So the first one I have already highlighted here. This is the first page from a 12-page document. And you can see on the left-hand side that there are 5 core competencies that drive the entire Pathways system. 2 of them are communication, 2 of them are leadership, and 1 of them is just building confidence. So public speaking is what most of us are here to learn, but as well, there are projects inside the system that teach you about interpersonal communication, being able to talk to another person or small groups or whatever in your day-to-day activities. Likewise, there are 2 different types of leadership. There is strategic leadership, which is the broader kind of director or boss level kind of leadership, and day-to-day management, how to work with as a supervisor or a manager with a small team. Each of those core competencies is embedded in 1 or more projects. The 2 projects that focus mostly on public speaking are this one here, Presentation Mastery, and the newest one that was added last February, engaging humor. You can see number 1 is highlighted and number 5, which is confidence, in both of those. All the other 9 projects have at least the public speaking and the interpersonal communication, and then usually one of either strategic leadership or management. There are 5 that have the strategic leadership, and there are 4 that have the management. So basically, if you are interested in just learning about public speaking, then I would recommend that you look at Presentation Mastery and Engaging Humor. In fact, Presentation Mastery in the first 3 levels has the same projects that were in the Competent Communicator Manual that was part of the traditional Toastmaster program. So you can get the same CC as those who are familiar with the traditional program by choosing the Presentation Mastery and working through the first 3 levels. Likewise, in Engaging Humor, you can get all but one project from the Competent Communicator Manual. So there's one project you can't get from Engaging Humor because there are other projects in Engaging Humor to teach you about humorous speaking. That will suffice if all you want to do is learn public speaking. If you're interested in leadership, then there are a variety of different choices that you can make, and you can use this chart to help get you to the right decision for you. The other resource that was listed here as Pathways, Paths, and Project Catalogs is this resource here. Now, we did not produce this. This was actually produced by District 57. District 57 was one of the first districts to go live with Pathways in 2017. And this is quite an extensive manual. This is now version 3 because it includes the Engaging Humor project. If you go down, you can see the entire catalog is everything, including the mentorship program and the Distinguished Toastmaster project. And you can go down here and you can look at the path. This particular one is dynamic leadership, excuse me. And you can see at level 1, what are the projects? At level 2, what are the projects? Level 3, what is a required project? And then what are the elective projects that are available? Level 4 and level 5. And each one of these is a link to that particular project in the system. So if I go over here, I mentioned earlier, create a podcast at level 4, and I click on that, I'm going to jump to that page. And that page has a description. What is the project that you're going to do? What are you trying to learn? An overview of it, and what you are supposed to do for your assignment. Excuse me. So this is a great way for you to look at the system in totality and try to find the one that best matches your needs, your interests, without having to actually select a path before you start. Great resources that are available. And again, I would recommend that you spend a little bit of time searching these. Excuse me. I'm going to click on the Pathways menu and now go to Road to DTM. On this page, what you'll see is a graphic on the left-hand side, which talks through what makes the new Distinguished Toastmaster Award. You can see at the very bottom, there are 2 paths, level 1 to 5. They have to be unique paths, so you have to finish 2 separate paths, all levels, level 1 to 5. In addition to that, there are some leadership elements. You'll see at the very top, you need to be a club officer for 12 months. That does not need to be 12 consecutive months, nor does it need to be 12 months as one type of leader. So you could choose to be the president for 6 months and then the vice president of membership. And you don't necessarily have to do those back to back. You could do those over 2 or 3 years. But there has to be a total of 12 months in service at your club. You also need to do a district officer role. Those are either the trio, which is the district director, the club growth director, and the program quality director, or the division director, or an area director. And some of those positions are elected positions, and some of those are appointed positions. But you must do one of those roles in order to complete the DTM award, and it takes 12 months of service to the district to qualify. Below that, you can see club mentor or club coach. A club mentor is assigned to a new club that's been just chartered and needs some help to get up to speed, learning how to do good meetings and good leadership. A club coach is assigned to a club that is struggling and has difficulties with membership or some issues of running the club properly. And you usually work with that club for a minimum of 6 months to try to help the club to get back on track and be a quality club. Below that, you have a choice of club sponsor or speechcraft or youth leadership program. A club sponsor is somebody who helps to form a club, helps to get the club from zero to fully chartered and a recognized new club. Speechcraft is an 8-week program, usually done in 8 weeks, that is done for an adult audience who are not Toastmasters and helps to teach them the fundamentals of public speaking. The youth leadership program is an 8-week program usually, and it is done for younger people below the age of 18, teaching them also public speaking fundamentals, but usually to a high school audience or a middle school audience and so on. The last piece on the right-hand side is the DTM project. This is a high-performance leadership project where you have to form a team and design a project, and you'll have a guidance committee to help you, and it usually takes 4 to 6 months, depending on the assignment, to get it done. Once all of those elements are completed, then you can be awarded the DTM award or the Distinguished Toastmaster Award, the highest award that's available in the Toastmaster education system. So that's a little bit about that. And with that, I'm going to close this 4th session, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Thank you.